Hello, spooky
Hello.
time. Welcome to spooky season. It's almost the end, but it's okay.
I got really into that song.
Thanks, I made it up. Well, to you, it's probably already Halloween since we're planning on putting this up on Halloween. So happy Halloween!
Woo! What is that? What is that
What?
noise? This year, Halloween's a little bit different because of social distancing.
Because of COVID.
Because of COVID. So we wanted to do something fun and scary to put you guys back in the mood.
So we thought it'd be a good idea to kind of start a spooky season series. We're gonna have 2 stories for you. They're very short, but they're very scary. Well, they were scary when we experienced them.
We attract a lot of supernatural things.
Yes, don't know why. It's something that we've known since we were very little, because we would see really weird things even when we were little.
I'm eating hot Cheetos and Takis. You can't have a story time without eating some type of chip. That's my rule. And I don't like Taki fingers or hot Cheeto fingers, so I use chopsticks.
Okay. So, when we were younger, I was like, what, 6th grade? You were in what, first?
Yes.
1st grade. My mom, took us to Mexico for about a year and a half. Her and my dad decided that we were going to go for a year and a half. We were going to go to school there. We were going to pretty much get the full experience, because they thought it was important for us to know our culture and where we came from. So we were having a grand old time in Mexico, just learning, living our best little lives. And there was a day where my mom had to go, I can't remember if she had to go visit my grandma for some reason, or she had to go do something, because we lived in a tiny little town. If you ever had to visit any of our relatives, you had to travel by train, or a bus. The city where my grandma lived was a few hours away, so the way that everything worked out, the schedule and stuff, is that she was going to travel and it was going to go later into the night. So she was going to stay with my grandma that night, and then she was going to come back the next day. So we didn't have a ton of money, so and since she was only going for a short period of time, she asked one of our family friends my mom asked her to stay with us that night. So she's like, yeah, why not? She, like I said, she hung out with us all the time. She babysat us all the time. We knew her very well. She was super nice. And so my mom left with my baby brother, who was 1. And so, we were going to have a little slumber party, and it was going to be real fun.
We also had a dog.
Yes, we had a dog. His name is Beethoven, because we were very original when it came to names. And we had watched that movie called Beethoven, and we figured that's a good name.
But he usually stayed outside of the house.
Yeah, and the way that the houses in Mexico are built is very different. So you kind of have the house, and then you have your outdoor area and
a little patio.
Like a little patio / kind of a garage area in your backyard, and then there's a gate. So this is all the patio area and stuff is inside your home, and it's just your neighbors are pretty much right next, stuck next to you. Around this time, it was summertime, so since it would get kind of hot inside our house, our dog preferred to be outside. So he would just kind of sleep next to our house. He had his little bed, and that's where he would stay. So, and he was kind of our guard dog. Anyone walked by our gate, he would bark at them. If he didn't know them, he would bark at them. The house had 2 bedrooms, and my mom, my sister, and I would stay in one room.
It was towards the back of the house.
Yeah, it was towards the back, and there was a window right behind, kind of like this headboard is right behind it, where my mom's bed was. That night, I remember we were getting ready to go to bed. We had dinner and everything was going pretty well. And then all of a sudden, we start hearing like tapping on the window. And it was the window right behind my mom's bed.
Back then in our house, the outside of the window had bars on it.
Yes.
So you couldn't, and it was kind of far back a little bit.
So we just started hearing tapping, and I thought at first, I was like, oh, it's probably like it's not tapping on the window, it's probably the people behind us. Those neighbors, they would constantly be doing construction on their home. So sometimes they would do it late at night, and sometimes they would like hammer. So my first thought was, oh, they must be doing some hammering, or they must be like fixing something or doing something. I thought that they were just working on their house late, because it wasn't uncommon for them to do that, especially in the summer. So the tapping stopped. And so I was like, oh yeah, see, they probably just were doing some stuff. And then it started in our kitchen window. And so I was like, that's weird. But again, I was like, oh, it's probably just them. They are neighbors. They're probably just, they probably moved from the one place they were to like the farther end. So maybe that's why it sounds like it's farther away. And then our dog starts going nuts. Okay. I heard him going from the back and going to the front and then going to the back and then going to the front. It was like he was just running.
Or he was like chasing somebody.
Yeah. And so we started hearing tapping on our side door, which was right, like straight shot from our bedroom door. You could see the side door, and it also had a window. I could see him from the window because he was jumping and he was he was trying to catch something. And I thought that maybe it was like a bug or something, just something that he was playing with. But he was going crazy. Like he was going nuts. Like when he would see strangers. And he just was chasing something. And so she tells us both to stay in the room. And so she goes out and she goes to just like I said, just the side door. And she opens because we had like a sheer little curtain. It was like white. You could see through it, but I was watching her, and she opens it, and our dog's going crazy. And outside we had lights on the
ceiling,
like the what is it, like the overhead of the garage, like
ceiling.
Yeah, like ceiling roof thing, and there was lights on it. All of a sudden, all the lights just, they're gone. Don't know where they went. And our dog still,
he didn't care.
and so she like looks at us, and I'm like looking at her because I just saw the lights go out, and she's like, I don't know what just happened. And so then we start hearing, like, instead of it being tapping, it sounds more like rattling, like the windows are rattling. And it's like all of our windows now, not just the ones in our bedroom, not just the ones, it's like all of them are rattling. The only way that I can describe it is we had an earthquake here in our hometown like a few months ago, and it's this like the rattling, the shaking. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like rattling, and it started on all the windows, and it was just rattling. And so I start screaming. Our babysitter starts screaming. My sister's hysterically crying and covering her ears in my chest because I was holding her, and she was just like crying, and I'm like screaming. And my dog is going insane, like trying to catch something, and then all of a sudden it stops. Just, my dog stops barking. You can see him pacing. He's pacing everywhere, and we're all three just kind of like,
I was still crying.
my sister's still crying. I'm like, I don't even know what just happened. Did we have an earthquake? But I didn't feel anything move except for the freaking windows. Our babysitter, she's like, I have to call somebody. I have to call someone. I don't know what just happened, and I'm freaking out because I can't explain what happened. All of our lights on the outside came back, but we couldn't explain what had just happened. So she called, I think it was her mom. She called her mom. She sent over our bishop, and I think we call her uncle. And so my aunt and uncle came, and our bishop came over, and we told him the story. We told him about the shaking and about the lights going weird and how we didn't know what was going on and the tapping and all this stuff. And my uncle and him, they both checked out the house, made sure that, you know, no one had gotten in. Which, another thing to note is that our house is gated and the gates are very high. The only way to get in was through the door, the gate door, or to hop the fence. And to hop the fence, like I said,
pretty hard.
It's very hard because there's no way.
They're made out of blocks, like cinder blocks, and then some, at the top they have to put in like metal bars, like metal rods. So a lot of people don't want to climb that because there's rods sticking out that are really pointy and you can hurt yourself and cut yourself. Yeah. So the only entrance to our house was through that gate, through that one door at the front of the house.
Yes.
Also, to be able to go through that door, you needed a key.
Yeah.
And my mom had locked us in the house.
Yes. We had a spare.
We had a spare.
But
like
we had the key.
Yeah, like she gave the key to our babysitter and she locked the door on her way out. You cannot get in.
And we hadn't left the house at all. Like I said, my grandpa lived right next door. My grandpa was home the whole time. He didn't hear anything. He didn't see anything. And it was really weird. So our bishop came over, like I said, and they checked out the house. They checked everything. They tried to figure out what was going on. And they didn't see it. Our backyard was mainly dirt. So if anyone walked in our backyard, you would see a footprint. Yeah. And it had just rained, so everything was kind of leveled. So you would have seen something, and there was no footprints, nothing. The only thing you could see was our dog's paws in like the dirty, muddy stuff, and like his footprints everywhere because he had been running literally everywhere. When we moved into this home, the first thing that my mom did was she blessed our home. Well, she had our house blessed, and we saged the crap out of it. And you know, all good energy here, but
we really like did everything to be able to be protected inside our home.
And there was a lady who lived right in front of our home. And if you've ever been to Mexico, you know that houses across the street are a lot closer than anywhere here in America. This lady was notorious in this little town for being a witch. She was known for practicing witchcraft.
And not the good kind.
No, black magic. When all this was happening, and our bishop came over and made sure everything was good, and he left, and our poor babysitter was like scared. And so she was like, you know, can they stay with you guys for the night? Like, I don't feel comfortable staying because that freaked me out and I don't know what to do and all that stuff. She didn't know what to, poor girl, she was so scared.
She was like 19, 20.
Yeah, she was like,
she didn't know what to do.
She was like, I was just here trying to take care of these girls. And so my aunt was sweet, and my aunt and uncle were sweet, and they stayed with us, and we let her go home. Because funny enough, when we were getting ready to like go back in her home and she was leaving, we look up and there's that lady just standing on her balcony, just smiling at us. And I'm like, I'm like, I don't know you. And my aunt, my sweet aunt, she's the sweetest lady you'll ever meet in your life. She looked at her and she started yelling. She's like, how dare you do this to my nieces? I can't even believe you. And so the lady just kept smiling. She didn't say a word. She just smiled. And then she's like, if you do this, like it was like my aunt mostly yelled. Like she was just yelling till my uncle was like, hey, you gotta go inside now. She was just like, blah, blah, blah. The days that followed, lots of birds would run into the windows of our front, like living area, and they would die. Like they would, and then.
And the thing is, we had an apricot tree right outside of that window outside of our house. So for it to be just like random birds like running into the window.
Yeah, they would have to like run into the tree, like, because it was covering most of our windows. But all of a sudden, they would just, like, we found so many dead birds. I mean, my dog had an amazing time because he was like,
So after that, like my mom and my aunt, so we lived with my aunt. It was us, it was my mom and my aunt and their kids and us who lived in the home. And so after that, my mom and my aunt did everything, like Steph said, everything in their power to protect our house from this lady. Because when we went down to Mexico, we were known as the people from the United States. So this lady, for some reason, really hated our family. Like really hated that, like hated us. And so she did that, and she did a lot of other things to us. My mom and my aunt and my family they were never rude to her when we would see her, because I mean she lived right in front of our house. Yeah. So we would see her very often.
They were trying to keep the peace.
Yeah, and so they were never rude. They'd be like, okay, hi, how are you? Like small talk, like, hi, how are you doing? Okay, goodbye. You know, we would go into our house and that's it. Like I mentioned before, the windows in our houses all had bars on them, except the window in front of our house. That one was the only one that didn't have bars on it. My mom and my aunt protected the house so much. And it kind of, I don't know what they did, but it pissed off this lady. Like I said, our bed was right under that window. Like the headboard was
literally like there was maybe like a space that big.
Yeah. But it was like right on top of the thing. I remember one time we were all getting ready for bed, and we turned off all the lights and we were going to sleep. And all of a sudden, our bedroom window starts to shake. Like it's shaking. And so I remember I woke up, and Nani, you woke up, and my mom woke up, and my mom had put a curtain over the window so that in the morning the sun wouldn't hit us directly in the face. And so it started shaking, and like there was banging on the window, and it was crazy. Mind you, it has bars. It's not easy to be able to like bang on the window. And so I remember mom like was freaking out, and I was freaking out. I was like, what the heck is going on? My mom moves the curtain, and there is the lady. It was like in a spirit form, but it was the lady, and she was wearing black, and like she was pale, and her hair was like all down. I just got chills. And she was like yelling, and she was pissed off. And she was like, why can't I get inside your house? What did you do? And she's like banging on the window. Why can't I get in? Oh my gosh, my palitos. Oh, my palitos. I have hair on my arms. And so every time I get like the chills, I say, look at my palitos, because my little hairs on my arms stick up.
I shave mine, but you would see mine too.
So every time I say, look at my palitos, that means I got goosebumps. Anyways, so she was freaking the F out. Like she was pissed that she couldn't get inside our house. And my mom's like, we protected our house. Like she was talking to her like nonchalant, like she didn't care. And I was like, what is going on? Now me being 5'6", okay, like, well 6, like 7, I was just like looking at my mom like, why are you just talking to her like she's a ghost lady? But like she had the figure of the lady's face. Like I don't know if she had morphed or had left her body. I don't know what type of witchcraft this lady did, but she was outside of our house, like outside of our window, and she like hated my mom more. I don't know why.
What did your mom do?
I don't know what my mom did. Mom, what did you do?
What did you do?
But like it was, she was like shaking the window, yelling at it, and it was like this scream, like this screech. Like you know how in like scary movies you hear this like petrifying like screech? That's what she was doing. Okay? She was doing that. And then all of a sudden she's like, I'm gonna figure out how to get into your house, and I'm gonna figure out how to ruin your guys' life. Like I'm gonna figure it out. I don't know what you guys did, but I'm gonna figure out. And I was just like freaked the F out.
Like, ma'am, what did we do to you? I'm sorry.
Right? And so she disappeared. The shaking stopped, the screeching stopped. She was gone. And my mom closed the window. We all did a prayer because, you know, we're like, dude, God.
Gotta pray.
Please.
Gotta pray the
Please
evil away.
protect us. The next morning, I remember my mom walked out of the house and the lady was pissed. Like she tried to come over to my house and my mom's like, no, like you're not coming over. But she was so angry. And I remember every time after that, we would at nighttime, if we were coming home late from our aunt's house, home late from work, wherever we were, that lady was standing right outside of her porch.
She was scared.
She was scary.
Guys, there's brujas out there.
And that's why like our family, we don't mess with that stuff. We know that there's good magic, like bad magic. Like there's good voodoo and like really bad voodoo, you know? And so just always be respectful and just
you don't mess with stuff.
Just don't mess with stuff like that.
But yeah, those are two of our stories that we have that happened in Mexico. Like I said, we have a lot of other stories when it comes to like ghosties and all that fun stuff. These were just the two that we thought of today. But if you guys want to hear more about our freaky deaky experiences, because we have a lot, feel free to let us know down there. If you guys want us to continue this series after spooky season is over, I'm more than happy. Or, you know, we can just do other stuff, because we do have other stuff that we want to do on this channel. But if you liked what you heard, because you like spooky stuff, let us know. But yeah, that's our story for today. But yes, just so you know, don't mess with the brujas in your town. I am Nani and this is Yaya.
I'm Yaya.
And we're gonna peace out.
I'm Yaya.
Have a good spooky time. Hold on.
Oh my god.